Many of us have been told the same thing for years. If it's fruit, it has to be healthy. And in many ways, that's true. Fruit provides vitamins, fiber, and nutrients that our bodies need. But here's something that often surprises my older patients. The benefits of fruit can change depending on when you eat it, how much you eat, and what health conditions you're living with. As we get older, our bodies simply don't respond the same way they did decades ago. I remember speaking with an older gentleman who thought he was making a healthy choice by enjoying a large serving of fruit every evening before bed. It had become part of his nightly routine. Then one morning, he experienced a frightening health scare that sent him to the emergency room. Was the fruit alone responsible? No. Health is rarely that simple. But the timing, the portion, and his existing medical conditions may have placed more stress on his body than he realized. That's exactly why we're having this conversation today. This isn't about telling you to stop eating fruit or making you afraid of foods you've enjoyed your whole life. It's about understanding that even healthy foods deserve a little more attention as we age. In this video, we'll look at several popular fruits that many older adults enjoy and talk about when they may be less suitable, who should be more cautious, and how simple adjustments can help you continue enjoying them more safely. Let's begin with a fruit that many people absolutely love, durian. For some older adults, especially those who grew up enjoying it, eating a few pieces after dinner feels comforting. Some even believe it helps them relax at the end of the day or sleep more soundly. It's a familiar evening habit, and for many families, it's simply part of their routine. But this is where it's worth taking a closer look, especially if you're over 60 or living with a chronic health condition. Durian naturally contains a relatively high amount of sugar, fat, and potassium. None of these nutrients are bad on their own. In fact, they all have important roles in a healthy diet. The concern is how they fit into your overall health picture, especially later in life. As we age, our bodies often process food differently than they did years ago. Medical conditions that become more common with aging can also change the way the body responds to certain foods. If you have diabetes, for example, the natural sugar in a large serving of durian may deserve a little more attention. If you have kidney disease, potassium intake may already be something your healthcare provider monitors closely. And if you're living with heart or cardiovascular conditions, your overall eating habits, including portion size and meal timing, become even more important. These situations don't automatically mean you have to avoid durian. They simply mean the fruit should be enjoyed with greater awareness. Another point many people overlook is the time of day they eat it. Late in the evening, your body is preparing to slow down and recover from the day. Large portions of rich foods during this time may place extra demands on the body when it should be resting. That doesn't mean everyone will experience a problem. But for older adults, especially those already managing ongoing medical conditions, this is one reason it's helpful to think about both what you eat and when you eat it. I've found that many patients assume healthy foods don't require portion control. That's an easy mistake to make. Yet even nutritious foods can become less suitable when the serving size is much larger than the body needs. Eating several large pieces of durian in one sitting is very different from enjoying a small portion as part of a balanced diet. Often, it's not the fruit itself that becomes the issue. It's the amount, the timing, and the individual health conditions that surround it. The good news is that you don't have to give up a fruit you enjoy. In many cases, simple adjustments may be all that's needed. Keeping portions moderate, choosing to eat durian earlier in the day instead of late at night, and paying attention to how your own body responds can make a meaningful difference. If you're living with diabetes, kidney disease, heart disease, or another long-term medical condition, it's also wise to discuss your diet with your healthcare professional. They know your medical history and can give advice that's specific to your needs. The goal isn't to create unnecessary fear around durian. It's to help you make informed choices. Understanding how portion size, meal timing, and existing health conditions work together allows you to continue enjoying your favorite foods in a way that better supports your health as you get older. Now, let's talk about grapes, another fruit that many people consider one of the healthiest choices they can make. Grapes are naturally rich in antioxidants and contain valuable nutrients that can be part of a balanced diet. For most people, they can absolutely fit into a healthy lifestyle. But as with many foods, the details matter. How much you eat, And when you eat, it can make a difference, especially as you get older. One habit I often hear about is eating a large bowl of grapes in the evening. It seems like a smart choice. They're fresh, juicy, and much lighter than desserts or processed snacks. Many older adults reach for grapes after dinner because they want something sweet without feeling like they're making an unhealthy decision. At first glance, that seems perfectly reasonable. The challenge is that grapes are very easy to keep eating. Unlike some fruits that feel filling after a few bites, grapes are small, convenient, and almost effortless to snack on. Before you realize it, what started as a handful can quickly become a large bowl. Because they taste light and refreshing, it's easy to lose track of how much you've actually eaten. As those portions grow, the natural sugars add up as well. That doesn't automatically make grapes unhealthy. However, for older adults who are managing diabetes, prediabetes, or other metabolic conditions, larger servings may deserve a little more attention. In these situations, portion size becomes just as important as the food itself. Eating grapes mindlessly while watching television or relaxing in the evening may lead to consuming far more than you originally intended. This doesn't mean grapes should be removed from your diet. Far from it. The goal is simply to recognize that even healthy foods work best when they're eaten thoughtfully. Many of my patients are surprised to learn that a food doesn't have to be processed or full of added sugar to deserve moderation. Natural sugars still count toward your overall daily intake, particularly when eaten in large amounts. Another simple habit that can help is paying attention to the form of the fruit you're choosing. Fresh grapes are generally a better option than processed grape products that may contain additional ingredients or be easier to consume in larger quantities. Fresh fruit naturally encourages a little more awareness of how much you're eating, while processed products can sometimes make portion control more difficult. Timing also deserves some consideration. Eating a very large serving of grapes late in the evening may not be the best choice for everyone, particularly if you're already working to manage blood sugar or other metabolic concerns. Choosing a more moderate portion or enjoying grapes earlier in the day may fit better into your overall eating pattern. The key message here is simple. Grapes are not the problem. They're a nutritious fruit that many people can continue to enjoy. The real issue is avoiding the habit of eating large amounts without noticing, especially late at night. A reasonable serving, fresh grapes instead of processed alternatives, and a little awareness about timing can go a long way. Small adjustments like these often make it much easier to enjoy your favorite foods while continuing to support your health as you get older. Before we move on, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed feeling unusually tired, restless, or simply not quite yourself after eating fruit late in the evening? If that sounds familiar, I'd love to hear about your experience. Feel free to share it in the comments. Your story may help someone else who has noticed the same thing but never made the connection. Small daily habits often have a much bigger impact on long-term health than most people realize. And sometimes, a simple change is all it takes to make a meaningful difference. If you're finding this information helpful, I'd also appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. Now, let's look at the next fruit on our list. Now let's talk about bananas. One of the most trusted fruits among older adults. They're affordable, easy to find, and have been part of healthy diets for generations. Many people enjoy a banana with breakfast, as an afternoon snack, or even before bed because it feels like a simple and nutritious choice. In many cases, it is. Bananas contain important nutrients that can fit well into a balanced diet, which is one reason they continue to be recommended as part of healthy eating habits. But there's an important detail that often gets overlooked. As with the other fruits we've discussed, timing and your individual health conditions matter. The same banana that works well for one person may not be the best choice for someone else, especially if it's eaten late at night or if certain medical conditions are already present. That's why it's helpful to look beyond the fruit itself and consider the bigger picture. Bananas naturally contain potassium and carbohydrates, both of which serve important roles in the body. For many healthy adults, these nutrients are beneficial and support normal body functions. However, not everyone's health needs are the same. As we grow older, chronic medical conditions become more common, and those conditions can change the way our bodies handle certain foods. For example, Older adults living with kidney disease may already need to pay closer attention to potassium as part of their overall diet. Likewise, people managing certain metabolic conditions often benefit from being more aware of their total carbohydrate intake throughout the day. This doesn't automatically mean bananas should be avoided. It simply means that personal health conditions deserve consideration when deciding how often and when to eat them. The time of day can also make a difference. Some people enjoy eating a ripe banana shortly before going to bed because it has become part of their evening routine. Others choose it because they want something natural instead of processed desserts or sugary snacks. While that may seem like a healthier option, a late-night banana may not be the ideal choice for everyone. For some older adults, especially those already managing kidney disease or metabolic concerns, it may be worth paying a little more attention to both timing and portion size. One thing I always remind my patients is not to label foods as simply good or bad. Nutrition is rarely that straightforward. A food that supports one person's health may require a little more planning for someone else. That's especially true as we age, when our medical history becomes just as important as the foods we choose. So it's important to keep this discussion in perspective. Bananas themselves are not harmful. They're still one of the healthiest fruits many people can enjoy. The goal isn't to remove them from your diet or make you worry every time you eat one. Instead, it's to understand that healthy choices work best when they match your individual health needs. If bananas are already part of your routine, there's usually no reason to panic. Simply be mindful of when you eat them, pay attention to your overall diet, and remember that your personal medical conditions should always guide your decisions. Small adjustments are often more valuable than extreme changes. When eaten appropriately and in a way that fits your own health situation, bananas can continue to be a healthy part of your daily routine. So, what does this mean in everyday life? For most older adults, bananas can still be part of a healthy diet. The key is to enjoy them in a way that fits your individual needs. If possible, consider eating bananas earlier in the day rather than late in the evening. A moderate portion is usually a better choice than eating several at once. If it fits your overall diet, pairing a banana with a source of protein, such as yogurt, may also help create a more balanced snack. If you have kidney disease or are managing a metabolic condition, it's always a good idea to talk with your healthcare professional about what amount is right for you. Their advice should always take priority, because it's based on your personal medical history and overall health. Now, let's move on to another fruit that's especially popular during its season. It's sweet, refreshing, and a favorite at family gatherings. But just like the fruits we've already discussed, there are a few things older adults should know before enjoying it regularly. Now let's turn to another fruit that many people look forward to every year, lychee. For many families, lychee is a true sign of summer. It's sweet, juicy, refreshing, and often enjoyed at family gatherings or shared with friends when the season arrives. Because it's a fresh fruit, many people naturally assume it's a healthy choice and don't think much about how much they're eating. And for most people, enjoying lychee occasionally is perfectly reasonable. Still, as we've seen with the other fruits we've discussed, timing and portion size can make an important difference. That's especially true for older adults who are managing chronic health conditions. A fruit doesn't have to be unhealthy to deserve a little extra attention. Lychee naturally contains a relatively high amount of sugar. That doesn't mean it's a bad fruit. Natural sugars are simply one part of the fruit's overall nutrition. The question is how much you're eating and whether it fits your personal health needs. Because lychees are small, sweet, and easy to eat one after another, it's surprisingly easy to consume a much larger amount than you intended. Many people don't stop after just a few. Before they realize it, they've finished an entire bowl. For older adults living with diabetes or dealing with unstable blood sugar, this habit may be worth reconsidering. Larger portions of naturally sweet fruit may deserve more attention than smaller, more controlled servings. That doesn't mean you need to avoid lychees completely. It simply means that moderation becomes more important, especially if blood sugar management is already part of your daily routine. The time of day also deserves some thought. Eating a large amount of lychee late in the evening may not be the best choice for everyone. At night, your body is preparing to rest, and eating large portions of sweet foods may not fit well into that process, particularly for people who are already managing metabolic concerns. A smaller serving earlier in the day may be a more comfortable option for many older adults. Another point that's easy to overlook is overeating simply because the fruit tastes so good. Lychees are refreshing and enjoyable, which can make it difficult to notice how many you've eaten. Slowing down and paying attention to portion size is often a simple but effective habit. Small changes like this are usually much easier to maintain than making dramatic changes to your diet. It's also important to pay attention to the quality of the fruit you're choosing. Fresh, undamaged lychees are always a better choice than fruit that appears bruised, spoiled, or has been sitting too long. Selecting fresh fruit is a simple step that supports better eating habits and helps reduce unnecessary concerns. One more thing to remember is staying well hydrated, especially during the warmer months when lychees are most popular. Good hydration is already an important part of healthy aging, and it's a habit that works alongside good nutrition rather than replacing it. The overall message is simple. Lychees are not a fruit that older adults need to fear. They're a seasonal favorite that many people can continue to enjoy. The goal isn't to avoid them. Instead, it's to enjoy them with moderation. Choose fresh fruit whenever possible, avoid eating large amounts late in the evening, and keep your own health conditions in mind. Those small decisions often make a much bigger difference than completely giving up a food you love. So, what's the best way to enjoy lychees? In most cases, the answer is simple. Keep your portions reasonable and enjoy them as part of a balanced diet, rather than eating a large amount all at once. It's also a good idea to avoid eating lychees on an empty stomach. Having them with or after a meal may be a more comfortable choice for many older adults. Whenever possible, try to enjoy them earlier in the day instead of late in the evening. These small adjustments can make it easier to include lychees in your diet while staying mindful of your overall health. Now let's move on to the final fruit on our list. It's another naturally sweet favorite that many older adults have enjoyed since childhood. For many families, it's a familiar treat that brings back warm memories. But just like the other fruits we've discussed today, there are a few important things to keep in mind before making it a regular evening snack. Now, let's look at the final fruit on our list, jackfruit. For many people, jackfruit is more than just a sweet treat. It's a fruit that brings back memories of family meals, summer afternoons, and simple moments shared with loved ones. Many older adults also describe it as filling and comforting. Because of that, it's not unusual for someone to enjoy a generous serving after dinner, thinking it's a satisfying way to end the day. Jackfruit certainly has its place in a healthy diet. Like many fruits, it contains valuable nutrients and can be enjoyed as part of a balanced eating pattern. But as we've discussed throughout this video, the way a food fits into your health depends on more than the food itself. Portion size, meal timing, and your personal medical history all play important roles. One thing to keep in mind is that jackfruit naturally contains sugar. That doesn't make it unhealthy. Natural sugar is simply one part of its nutritional profile. The question is how much you're eating and whether it fits your individual health needs. Because jackfruit is naturally sweet and easy to enjoy, it's possible to eat a much larger serving than you originally planned without giving it much thought. Its texture is another reason it's worth paying attention to portion size. Jackfruit is more substantial than many other fruits. A large serving late in the evening may feel heavier than expected for some older adults, particularly those who already deal with digestive concerns. While everyone's body is different, many people find that lighter evening meals are simply more comfortable than large portions of rich or filling foods before bed. For older adults living with diabetes, moderation becomes especially important. Larger portions of naturally sweet fruit may not fit as well into an eating plan designed to support healthy blood sugar management. That doesn't mean jackfruit has to be avoided. It simply means it's worth thinking about how much you're eating and when you're eating it. Timing matters here as well. A generous serving late at night may not be the best choice for everyone. Enjoying jackfruit earlier in the day often fits more naturally into a balanced eating routine. This simple adjustment may be easier than trying to eliminate a favorite food altogether. In my experience, sustainable habits usually work better than strict rules that are difficult to maintain. That's really the message I hope you take away. Healthy eating isn't about creating long lists of foods you can never have again. It's about making choices that match your body's current needs. Small changes are often enough to make a meaningful difference without taking away the foods you enjoy. If you like jackfruit, there's usually no reason to stop eating it completely. Instead, focus on realistic habits. Keep your portions moderate. Avoid turning a large bowl into a regular late-night snack. Pay attention to how your body feels, especially if you're managing diabetes or digestive concerns. These simple steps are often more helpful than strict restrictions that are difficult to follow over time. The goal is balance, not perfection. By being mindful of portion size and choosing a time of day that better supports your overall health, you can often continue enjoying jackfruit while making choices that fit your individual needs as you get older. As we've seen today, none of the 5 fruits we've discussed are inherently bad. Durian, grapes, bananas, lychees, and jackfruit can all be part of a healthy diet. Each one offers valuable nutrients and can be enjoyed in the right way. The important message isn't that these fruits should be avoided. It's that healthy eating becomes more personal as we get older. What matters most is choosing the right portion, paying attention to when you eat, and understanding your own health conditions. A fruit that works well for one person may require a little more planning for someone else. That's especially true if you're living with diabetes, kidney disease, digestive concerns, or other long-term medical conditions. Looking at the whole picture is always more helpful than focusing on a single food. I never want my patients to become afraid of healthy foods. Fear usually doesn't lead to better habits. Understanding does. The more you know about how your body responds to different foods, the easier it becomes to make choices that support your long-term health without giving up the foods you enjoy. In many cases, small adjustments are all that's needed. A more moderate portion, eating a little earlier in the day, or paying closer attention to your own health needs can often make a meaningful difference. One of the most important lessons I've learned after caring for older adults over the years is that lasting health rarely comes from dramatic changes. It usually comes from simple habits, repeated consistently. Those everyday decisions may not seem exciting, but over time they often have the greatest impact on how we feel and how well we age. So rather than trying to make your diet perfect overnight, focus on making thoughtful choices that you can continue for years to come. Give yourself permission to enjoy your favorite foods, but do so with balance, awareness, and respect for what your body needs today. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope this discussion has helped you look at these familiar fruits in a new and more practical way. If you have your own experience or a tip that has worked well for you, I'd be happy to hear it. Please feel free to share it in the comments. Respectful conversations often help all of us learn from one another. If you found this video helpful, thank you for watching and for being part of this community. I truly appreciate your time and trust. Until next time, take good care of yourself. Continue making small choices that support your health, and I wish you many healthy, peaceful, and enjoyable years ahead.